Formula One, the pinnacle of auto racing. Well, sometimes it is.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
It's been around ever since the 1950s, with humble beginnings of rich playboys risking it all in hyperfast death coffins to maybe win a Grand Prix, and the sport evolved to teenagers and young adults risking it all in hyperfast, a lot more safer death coffins to maybe win a Grand Prix. But like every other professional sport, money of course has to be involved, but it also takes serious hard work and natural talent to even get behind the wheel of a Formula One car, with 19 of the most hard-boiled drivers of all time, including this Canadian weirdo over here. Oh my god, so I was in the paddock and fucking Lance approached me and he was like, "Can I sniff your toes, Bianca?" And I was like, "Ew, you're gross, get away from me. Let me go to my safe haven." Like, I hope I don't face any repercussions because of this. But anyways, you get the point of Formula One. And like every other sport in existence, they got video games about it. And there are a ton of Formula One games, it really must be said. And with the recent release of F1 25, with everyone hopping on the bandwagon, slapping together the quickest review of all time on the same goddamn game every year, I figured instead of blowing a good chunk of money on a game that I already own twice, I'm gonna be playing the exact opposite of the latest F1 game.
Get out of the way! Damn!
And what is Pole Position all about? Well, it's a 2.5D racing game from 1982, developed by Namco and published by Atari in the United States. And it's a game where you drive an F1 car. That's it. There's a lot of signs on the side of the track, and it even features other drivers. Wow! And despite how basic this arcade classic is, it had a lot of popularity back in the day, and even featured this batshit insane commercial about it.
You're gonna play Pole Position!
And where exactly are we driving in this game? Well, the one and only Fuji Speedway. The original Fuji, to be exact. You know, before the Fiat popped out of nowhere, did everyone an inconvenience, and turned it into whatever this mess is nowadays. And so you start your Formula One career as a driver for McLaren. Oh, how special we are. And it's currently in the middle of Q3, and we only got one qualifying lap to not miss our chance to blow.
Prepare to qualify.
And so we line up at the start and skadoodle skedaddle off the launch. And since you're in a high-tech Formula One car, you'd think you have the standard issue 5-speed manual transmission, right? Yeah, nah, kid. You have 2 gears, low and high. That's it. And also, you should be real careful on how you drive, because if you're not...
That looked bad. Are you alright? Let me know you're alright.
But no worries, because you'll respawn back on the track and you'll be on your way. And just like real F1 qualifying, you gotta deal with other cars on the track in the middle of your hot lap. So you gotta be careful, swerving in and out of traffic like your cool kid from BX. Because if you just so tap another driver, both of you will just engulf in flames. But eventually, you'll cross the line, and it looks like you did in fact succeed to qualify for the race. But then you line up on the grid with all the other drivers, and it's time to go racing.
And it's lights out and away we go!
And so we launch at the start, overtaking both Ferraris, and then I immediately passed the other McLarens with the greatest cornering skills, and somehow got behind a green Aston Martin, and then...
What an idiot!
Oh yeah, one thing I should mention about pole position is that the race literally does not matter at all. Even if you manage to fly past everyone in the front of the pack, you'll somehow find more cars farther up front, which makes no sense. But as soon as you manage to make one lap under the very strict time limit, you get extended time and you get to keep playing the game until the timer slowly runs out and your car suddenly comes to a stop. And your final score gets pumped up with the amount of cars you passed, and it turns out you got the high score. And that pretty much sells it for Pole Position, an extremely basic, bare bones racing game with one track and one car. That's it. No character customization, no livery designer, no car selection screen or option to drive supercars, and no fucking furniture customization. What you see is what you get. But also, did you know that there's Pole Position 2? And right off the bat, the difference here is that they added 3 different tracks to choose from.
Wow.
And because of your shitty performance from McLaren, you get fired and get sent to Williams as your punishment. But basically here in Pole Position 2, it's almost the same game as the first, but with a slight graphical change. Of course, we still got Fuji Speedway over here, and you can try to redeem yourself from your failures at McLaren. And there's Indianapolis Speedway, which is more of an IndyCar thing though. And also, for some reason, the track is sitting right in the middle of fucking Egypt apparently, and running over puddles in this game makes a funny fart noise. And there's the very iconic Suzuka, and they also got a pretty accurate background for the track here as well. But unlike other games where you can tell which corner is going to be what, in Pole Position, because all the tracks are on the flat surface, Suzuka is a fucking death track. Doing the snake and anti-banked curve is just nerve-wracking, and the Casio triangle just pops in unannounced because every corner looks the same in Pole Position. And finally, there's the OG Long Beach track from 1982. And F1 did in fact race here back in the day, and this track is relatively easy to be honest, not until you reach the Les Gazomit hairpin.
Now that's a lot of damage!
And that pretty much sells it for the Pole Position games. One of the very foundations of what racing games would turn into nowadays. A very simple game with not a lot to sell to you. You hop in an F1 car and fucking try not to die. That's pretty much it. And I give Pole Position 1 and 2 10 Toro Rosso cars out of shagging it into the fucking barriers.
A fucking nerve he has. He's absolutely...